insurrection, correct?
You son of a bitch, I'm not a goddamn criminal.
If there's one thing For All Mankind has always done brilliantly, it's showing that humanity doesn't magically become better just because it reaches space. The technology evolves, the frontiers expand, but the same human problems follow us wherever we go. Season 5, Episode 2, titled The Hard Six, makes that clearer than ever. What should be the golden age of human civilization on Mars is instead turning into a powder keg of secrets, betrayals, and desperate choices. After the shocking setup in Episode 1, this episode dives straight into the political and personal tensions brewing across the Red Planet. The story splits across several major threads: the truth about Miles Dale, the mysterious investigation led by Celia Boyd, Kelly Baldwin's new scientific mission, and the dangerous rescue plan for Jong Gil. And hanging over all of it is the fate of the man who has carried this show since the very beginning, Ed Baldwin. By the time the episode ends, alliances have shifted, secrets have been exposed, and one of the most legendary astronauts in this universe may have just taken his final flight.
Said they would leave me and my family alone.
Yeah, well, circumstances have changed.
Miles Dale's shocking secret. One of the most surprising revelations in this episode revolves around Miles Dale. Viewers first met Miles back in Season 3 as a simple technician working on the Mars base. At that time, he was just another worker trying to survive the brutal conditions of life on another planet. But over the years, Miles evolved into something much bigger. By Season 4, he had become a symbol of the working-class population on Mars. He was one of the central figures behind the daring meteorite heist that aimed to boost the Martian economy. The plan was risky, controversial, and illegal, but to many workers it represented something important: independence from Earth's control. Miles endured brutal interrogations to protect his friends and colleagues after the rebellion. Even when the pressure mounted and the authorities pushed him to the brink, he tried to shield the people who trusted him. Because of that, he became a hero among the workers, someone who stood up against the system. But in the Hard Six, that entire image gets shattered. The Mars sheriff, Palmer, reveals a devastating truth. Since the rebellion in 2003, Miles has secretly been feeding information to the authorities. He has essentially been acting as an informant for years, quietly passing along intelligence about the very people who believed he was fighting alongside them. And the reason is heartbreaking but complicated. Miles didn't betray his friends for power or money. He did it to protect his family back on Earth. The authorities had leverage over him, and he made a choice that many people might understand, but few would forgive. From his perspective, it was about survival, but from the workers' perspective, it's nothing less than betrayal. This revelation completely changes how viewers see Miles. He's no longer just the brave rebel leader. He's now a man caught between loyalty and fear, someone whose past decisions could destroy the fragile unity among the Martian workers. And if the SDM discovers the truth, the consequences could be explosive.
Cargo that doesn't appear on any official base manifest.
Celia Boyd's investigation begins to uncover the truth. While the political drama unfolds among the workers, another storyline quietly builds tension through a slow-burning investigation. Celia Boyd, an agent for the Mars Peacekeeper Organization, is trying to solve the mysterious murder that shocked the colony in Episode 1. At first, it seemed like Jong Gil was responsible for the killing. The evidence pointed toward him, and the authorities were preparing to send him back to Earth to face trial. For many people, the case seemed straightforward, but Boyd is starting to see cracks in that narrative.
As she digs deeper into the situation, she begins to suspect that Lee may not actually be the murderer. The more she investigates, the more inconsistencies she finds. The evidence doesn't line up perfectly, and certain details don't make sense. Then she uncovers something even more troubling. There are secret operations happening on Mars that the peacekeepers know nothing about. These covert missions appear to be connected to Corrigan, a powerful Russian corporation that operates mining facilities on Mars. The company benefits enormously from the resources extracted on the Red Planet, but it seems they may also be conducting unauthorized activities. Boyd discovers that Corrigan teams have been performing operations at night, directly violating the strict regulations that govern Martian activity. These secret missions raise serious questions about what the company might be hiding. When Boyd confronts a Corrigan representative, the response is dismissive and evasive. Instead of offering explanations, the company brushes off her concerns and refuses to cooperate. That reaction only deepens her suspicions. If Corrigan is hiding something, it could be connected to the murder, and if that's true, the entire case against Jong Gil might be based on false assumptions. Boyd's investigation is clearly setting up a much larger mystery that will unfold throughout the season.
There are other companies looking at Titan. If you really did find life, it's only a matter of time.
Kelly Baldwin's search for alien life takes a new direction. While political tensions and criminal investigations dominate Mars, another storyline focuses on something much bigger: the possibility of life elsewhere in the solar system. Kelly Baldwin has dedicated years of her life to searching for signs of extraterrestrial life. She spent nearly a decade studying a crater on Mars that scientists believe might contain evidence of microbial organisms. Unfortunately, that research hasn't produced the breakthrough she hoped for. Just as it seems like the search on Mars may be reaching a dead end, a new discovery changes everything. One of the robotic rovers exploring Titan sends back signals suggesting something unusual. Titan, the largest moon of Saturn, has long fascinated scientists because of its thick atmosphere and lakes of liquid methane. While it's not exactly Earth-like, it's one of the most promising places in the solar system where life might exist in some form. The rover's findings aren't definitive proof of life, but they're intriguing enough to spark serious interest. For Kelly, this could be the opportunity she's been waiting for. She wants to join the Titan research team and investigate the signals directly. However, the man leading the project is not thrilled about her involvement. He views her as an outsider trying to interfere with his mission. But Kelly has a powerful advantage. As a shareholder in Helios, she has influence within the organization. She calls on Dev Aesa, the brilliant but controversial Helios leader, to help secure her place on the mission. Dev agrees to support her, opening the door for Kelly to pursue the Titan investigation. This storyline could become one of the most exciting threads of the season. If life is discovered on Titan, it would be one of the greatest scientific discoveries in human history, and Kelly Baldwin might be the one to find it.
I know the M6 charter. They can't send you back to Earth without only hearing your
Because of my status, they say
plan to save Jong Gil. While Kelly looks towards the outer solar system, the situation on Mars grows more urgent. Jong Gil is facing a grim fate. The authorities plan to transport him back to Earth for trial, but many people believe that once he leaves Mars, he won't survive long enough to defend himself. To the Martian workers, Lee isn't just another astronaut. He's a hero. As the first man to set foot on Mars in this alternate timeline, Lee represents the spirit of exploration and sacrifice. Over the years, he has built strong relationships with people like Ed Baldwin and Miles Dale, and they refuse to let him be executed for a crime they believe he didn't commit.
The SDM, the organization representing the working class population on Mars, begins planning a daring rescue mission. Their goal is simple, but incredibly dangerous. Free Lee from custody before he can be transported back to Earth. The situation echoes the meteor heist from Season 4. That operation involved many of the same people and relied on careful planning and a willingness to break the rules. But this time, the stakes are even higher. They're not stealing resources or trying to influence the economy. They're trying to save a man's life, and leading the charge is the one person who has never backed down from a challenge, Ed Baldwin.
Well, then we got a hopper. Ronnie, you still have access to the motor pool?
Ed Baldwin's final mission. Since the beginning of For All Mankind, Ed Baldwin's has been the heart and soul of the series. From the Apollo missions to the colonization of Mars, he has been there through every era of space exploration. But time eventually catches up with everyone, because each season jumps forward roughly a decade. Ed is now an old man. In episode 1, viewers learn that he has been diagnosed with stage 3 cancer. The doctors warn him
him that flying again could kill him. For most people, that would mean retirement, but Ed Baldwin has never been most people. Flying has defined his entire life. It's what he was born to do. The idea of sitting on the sidelines while his friend is sent to a possible execution is something he simply cannot accept. So Ed makes a decision that perfectly captures who he is. He steals the transport ship that was supposed to carry Lee back to Earth. With time running out, Ed launches the ship and flies Lee to a hidden base on Mars that operates outside the control of the M6 authorities. It's a risky maneuver that could easily get him arrested, or worse, but the plan works. Lee reaches the base safely and is granted refuge as a kind of political asylum seeker on Mars. For now, he's free from Earth's justice system. However, the journey takes a devastating toll on Ed. His body is already weakened by cancer, and the physical strain of piloting the spacecraft pushes him beyond his limits. As the episode reaches its final moments, Ed slumps forward in the cockpit. The scene is intentionally ambiguous. It's not immediately clear whether Ed has died or if he's simply collapsing from exhaustion and illness, but the moment feels incredibly heavy, as if the show is preparing to say goodbye to one of its most legendary characters. If this truly was Ed Baldwin's final mission, then it was a fitting one. He went out doing what he loved most, flying through space and protecting the people he cared about.
Stop to your head below. Suit up. As soon as we touch down, I'm gonna kill.
The season's big mysteries are just beginning. By the end of the Hard 6, Season 5 of For All Mankind has already set up an impressive number of storylines. Miles Dale's secret threatens to destroy the fragile trust among the Martian workers. Celia Boyd's investigation hints at a much larger conspiracy involving Corrigan. Kelly Baldwin's Titan mission could lead to the discovery of extraterrestrial life, and the fate of Jong Gil may spark a political crisis between Mars and Earth. But the biggest question of all is the fate of Ed Baldwin. After decades of pushing the limits of human exploration, his story may finally be reaching its end. And if that's true, the next generation of explorers will have to carry the torch forward, because the dream of expanding humanity beyond Earth is far from over.
DJ Transport 1, we have officers trapped in there. Respond.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.